Cholesterol. You hear that word thrown around all the time, right? Especially when we're talking about heart health. But what does it actually mean to get a handle on it? Well, today we're going to break down a really simple but super powerful plan to do exactly that. To really wrap your head around this, let's start with a simple picture. I want you to imagine that your arteries are just like the pipes in your house. When everything's flowing, it's all good. But if those pipes start getting gunked up with plaque from high cholesterol, well, you're heading for some serious trouble. That whole process is called atherosclerosis, and it's pretty much the starting point for a lot of heart problems. So let's zoom in on this silent clog. And it really is silent. It can build up for years without a single symptom, which is exactly why getting the basics down is so important for your health down the road. Okay, so here's the deal. Not all cholesterol is the bad guy. You've probably heard of LDL and HDL, right? Just think of LDL as the lousy cholesterol. That's the stuff that sticks around and builds up plaque in your arteries. But then you've got HDL, the helpful cholesterol. Its job is to act like a tiny garbage truck, driving around, collecting all that lousy cholesterol, and hauling it back to the liver to get tossed out. So the game plan is pretty simple. Lower the lousy and raise the helpful.
When most of us think about cholesterol, our minds jump straight to diet. And look, that is a huge piece of the puzzle. But there is another major factor at play here that just kind of flies under the radar for a lot of people, and that's stress. So let me ask you this. What if you could eat the perfect diet? I mean, salads, lean protein, the whole 9 yards, and still have a problem with high cholesterol? The reason might not be what's on your plate at all, but what's going on in your head. So how does this actually work in your body? Well, when you get stressed, whether it's from a deadline at work or being stuck in traffic, your body kicks into fight or flight mode. It starts pumping out hormones like cortisol. And what does cortisol do? It floods your system with glucose and fatty acids, basically giving you a quick shot of energy, which is great if you need to run from a tiger. But if you're just sitting at your desk and you don't burn that energy off, it can lead to higher cholesterol levels over time. And this is where it gets really interesting, because stress hits you with a 1-2 punch. First, you've got the direct stuff we just talked about, the hormones, the biological changes, but then you have the indirect effects. And you know what these are? It's what we do when we're stressed. We reach for those comfort foods, we tell ourselves we're too tired to go to the gym, maybe we smoke a little more. All of those behaviors can send our cholesterol numbers in the completely wrong direction. All right, so we've laid out the problem, including that sneaky role that stress plays. Now let's talk about the solution. And the good news is there's a really powerful science-backed toolkit that anyone can use. It's called TLC. The Therapeutic Lifestyle Changes Program, or TLC for short, is a super comprehensive plan that was put together by the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute. This isn't some new fad diet you saw online. It's a proven framework that's built on 3 solid pillars: eating a heart-healthy diet, getting regular physical activity, and managing your weight in a smart way. And check this out. This shows you just how incredibly effective this TLC program can be. Just look at these numbers. Each little change, like cutting back on saturated fat, losing just a little bit of weight if you need to, adding some soluble fiber, each one makes a difference. But the magic happens when you start adding them up. You could be looking at a total reduction in your bad LDL cholesterol of 20 to 30%. That is absolutely huge. Okay, so let's really dig into that first pillar, diet, because this isn't about what you can't eat. It's about learning how to turn food into your most powerful ally in this whole fight. I want you to remember one simple number, 5 to 10 grams. That's it. That's how much soluble fiber you should aim to get every single day. And the research shows that hitting this target can lower your total and LDL cholesterol by as much as 5 to 11 points. It is such a small goal with a massive payoff. And you know what? Getting that fiber is way easier than you might think. We're not talking about weird, expensive superfoods here. We're talking about a bowl of oatmeal for breakfast, maybe some beans with your lunch, grabbing an apple or a pear for a snack. These are just normal, everyday foods that are jam-packed with the exact kind of fiber that literally helps pull cholesterol out of your system. Let's make this even more real. Take a look at this pear. A single, medium-sized pear has more than a gram of that LDL-lowering soluble fiber. Just eating one of these is a delicious, simple, and concrete step you can take today. Kind of makes the whole goal feel a lot more doable, doesn't it? Of course, anytime we start talking about making these kinds of health changes, the conversation always drifts over to supplements. You know, is there some kind of magic pill that can just do all the heavy lifting for us? Let's take a look at a really popular one. You've probably heard of red yeast rice. It's a supplement that's definitely been shown to help lower cholesterol. And the reason it works is because it has this compound in it called monocolin K. Now here's the wild part. Monocolin K is chemically identical to lovastatin, which is the active ingredient in some prescription statin drugs. But, and this is a huge but, because it acts like a prescription drug, it can also come with very similar risks. So on the one hand, yeah, it can lower your cholesterol. But on the other hand, you're looking at the potential for some pretty serious side effects, like liver and muscle problems. Some formulations can even contain a toxin that's harmful to your kidneys.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This quote from the Mayo Clinic puts it perfectly. Red yeast rice has the exact same potential side effects as prescription statin medicines. The bottom line here is crystal clear. This is not something you just grab off the shelf and start taking. You absolutely have to talk to your doctor before you even think about it. Wow, okay, we have covered a lot of ground here, from clogged pipes and stress hormones all the way to fiber-packed pears. So let's bring it all home and wrap this up with the most important actionable things you need to remember.
So here's your 5-step game plan. Number 1, get to know your numbers. Really understand the difference between that lousy LDL and helpful HDL. 2, don't ignore stress. Its impact is real. 3, follow a proven plan, like the TLC program. It works. 4, make food your friend and start by adding in that soluble fiber. And finally, number 5, be super cautious with supplements. Always talk to a medical professional first.
Look, you don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight. That's not how this works. So I'm going to leave you with this one simple question to think about. What is one small positive change you can make for your heart starting today? Thanks for joining me.